So how did you transition from creating films to politics?
Well, I think the big transition. Well, okay, it's complicated. I've always loved politics, but the transition happened, I would say, around 2020, and I noticed that there was sort of a change in culture. And of course, COVID was going on, but there was a lot of protests that were happening down in the States, and Black Lives Matter was one of them. But there was a lot of cultural shifts happening, and for whatever reason, it also happened up in Canada, even though the same issues I don't think were quite as heavy. And then, of course, there was, I guess, for Canada, there was also the Indigenous children thing that happened in BC, and that was a big
Catholic.
Yes, and
board.
and that's that was very shocking news, and now we're here 5 years later, and it still is it's pretty complicated, but the way that the Canadian film funding model goes is that they don't really care if your movie has any monetary success. They don't care if your movie makes any money, because most people don't watch Canadian movies, and that's just it,
Truth, yeah.
And you can find out from a lot of different people different reasons why they think that's the case. I've always felt that because Canadian movies are made by Canadian government grants, they have an agenda, and the agenda changes based on whatever era we're living through. So when I was going up through school, if there was a movie that was made in Newfoundland, it was heavily fisherman stories, and then at around 2020, the prerogative, I think, of the federal and provincial governments were to feature more people based on their identity.
Big time.
Yeah, and and that's fine, but it's also not interesting. I think to a certain extent, people don't want to go to see movies based on the identity of the person that's making it. It's should be about story.
Yeah.
And for me, it's entertainment. And I've always wanted to make sure that whatever it was, because my movies are very political as well, they're all satire, and there's always a political slant to it, but it's more if you're making a comedy, make sure that it's funny, and if you're making a horror movie, make sure that it's scary. And these are the things that I have wanted to get into, or the reason why I got into doing these things, making movies. But when you start getting bogged down, and even people who are great storytellers, but the idea is that maybe they got funding based on their identity, it takes away a lot from their talents in the end too. And so, long-winded way, once I started seeing this as this is where, the future of the industry is, I wanted to change that. And I also wanted to change it in the bigger picture. So it became this jumping off point was seeing the way that these things were happening in this industry, in the film industry, and then seeing it as happening by and large throughout our province and our country. And so that's why I got involved.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
a fine line to have to, and believe me, I've had so many conversations with people at the door and when you get to talk to people one-on-one, and they really get into what it is that's bothering them. And it's it's threading the needle, because I'll have people that start off a conversation will go I'm not racist, but this is what I'm seeing. And you go, yeah, it isn't a matter of being against a race or sexuality or whatever. It's a matter of policy that has been instituted to for whatever reason, which we can get into, but it's not a matter of being racist. It's a matter of seeing that that things are not done through merit or fairness anymore.
No, and it's affecting a lot of people's quality of life.
Yeah,
And I, like, myself and my son are big film buffs, and we watch a lot of movies, and just the quality of the storylines and the plot have completely gone off the rails.
yeah,
We started watching the original, I'll use the Marvel movies.
yes.
So like
Yeah.
Captain America and Thor, and they had, you know, there was a lot of dimension to them.
Mhm.
They, you know, they had character flaws, and at the end of it, they work through struggle and they get to this place, and then it's all, well, you need a girl boss to come in, you know.
Yes.
And I remember when Kill Bill came out, she was unstoppable. It was
Mhm.
amazing, you
Yeah.
know, and they didn't have to do all of this weird hand-holding narrative
Well,
dribble, you know.
yeah,
It's coming out.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it's insulting how simplistic they make it, and so the Marvel movies and the universe is a great example because I think it was like uh, uh, part two of like the end of their final story. I don't know well, but I mean, in the final battle, there was like it's going on and it's fighting, and then all of a sudden it's like all of the women characters are now, and it was just so patronizing and inorganic and like patting yourselves on the back, you know, when I think that those things make a bigger impact if it's not slapping you in the face, you know,
Yeah.
that people and kids are smart enough to see movies and look at something like a strong female lead, which is like a term I've heard so many times and has been interpreted as your character is never wrong and your character is, you know, has nothing to learn and
Has been beaten down by
everyone else.
Yeah.
Exactly, and still overcomes it. When Kill Bill is a great example. It's like a strong character is a flawed character that has somewhere to move and learn and like isn't right all the time and has a gray area of their morality and, you know, has to make decisions on that. And so that's fairly technical to think about, but the evidence and end result that you see on screen is, again, like something that's very patronizing and versus something that is cool, you know?
Yeah. No, there. I mean, it's not enjoyable when you know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I find even in movies where, and the box office is showing it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
They're hemorrhaging money.
Yeah.
On these projects.